like even with Apple, right? Like the idea that you could like have a phone that has 3 cameras on, like, like this, like really in beautiful camera, and like, a touch screen is like, that seems like really, really far off into the future. And when you're Apple, you're like, okay, when you first drop the phone that has like 0 buttons, like I remember I was like, I've watched that, I can't remember what they call it, but like the big meme, like, so yeah, the product launch, like, so like I've watched that like a lot, like it has like, I don't know, I think it has like 1 billion views, from like more than that maybe on YouTube. But it's just this idea that like you're watching somebody say like, okay, however you've been thinking about phones this entire time, this is completely, not only is it completely different, but it's like everybody was like, what do you mean no buttons on your phone? Every phone that I've had my entire life has had buttons in some way, shape, or form. But the way that you get buy-in like that is that you've consistently had great product before. You can, everybody out there in the audience and everybody that's probably watching has probably had their iPod and like have like other devices that are like, oh, these are really cool devices. Like this stuff is like I've had their computers and I've had their laptops. And so I can imagine that whatever they're about to launch out here into the audience or into the public is a good product. And so you can kind of have that kind of buy-in. But yeah, I think if any other company that doesn't have that kind of product loyalty and buy-in, if they just try to put a phone out there that doesn't have any buttons, it probably doesn't launch as well.
I mean, you literally saw it. I have an example of Apple and then another example of the code I was working with. You saw with the Apple Watch. It's like at some point it became clear that Apple was going to launch a watch, but people didn't exactly know what it was going to look like. And so Samsung saw it, like that was going to be coming. And then Samsung was like, you know what, we're going to be Apple. We're actually going to launch the watch first. So they actually launched the watch before Apple did. And it started off okay, but then after that, like sales just like tanked. But then when Apple launches theirs, like it saw much more consistent growth. And one of the things that we saw with Apple was like when Apple launches a new product, they don't do it as often now because the strategy's changed a lot. They're less about the innovation. But when they launch a product, it takes them forever. There's so much lead up. Like they're announcing the idea for the thing like a year before, and they're building a wait list, and they're teasing things to the wait list people over a very, very, very long time. And then they're also limiting the launch. You're like, not everyone's gonna be able to get one. That's such a bogus idea, because like they're Apple, they're one of the wealthiest. They have $1 trillion in the bank. They could make one for every single person if they wanted to. Like it's not a limited.
Yeah.
The limit, it's a false scarcity. They can make as many as they wanted. But on that initial run, they keep it like, nope, we're not doing that. We're only going to make a limited run. So now you're raising the status of people who get it, and you're making it. The whole product launch becomes an experience, right? But it's that experience you have to be willing to play the long game. This is something that, hey, we're going to do this next year. It's January 1st right now. You're not going to see this until February next year. Are you willing to play that sort of long game to kind of prime people for what's about to happen?
And it's better to have a bunch of experiences like that are like these limited runs. So you have people waiting outside and waiting around the corner and like tweeting and being highly anticipating getting their hands on something, as opposed to just being like, you guys could drop by the store anytime. We got plenty. Like much like for the status of your company, like, and for kind of the status of that product, it's so much better to be like, okay, guys, like October 30th is the next time we're going to have this, but we're only going to stock 10,000 countrywide. And so hopefully you're one of the people.
Yeah. But also think about that front. I was working with a poet. So a poet, she was showing me some songs she'd written, and she showed me, she's a poem called like First Sonnet. And I wanted to clear, it's not a sonnet. It's 14 lines, but beyond that, it's not, oh, look at it. It's not a sonnet. It's not. And we talked about it. And now she's aware. Now she's aware of like, oh, and you know, you got the meter, there's the rhyme scheme, all those, there's the turn, you know, right around line 8, line 9. You know, so we talked about it. And now she's written another poem that we changed it to the title of that one to like Second Sonnet or something like that. And what I told her is that, you know, if you submit this out to journals, personally, I would not recommend starting that submission packet with the first sonnet, because if I start that submission packet with first sonnet, they're going to read it and they're like, this person doesn't know how to write a sonnet. Regarded first sonnet is not even a sonnet, you know? And you know, you might get some people that play around with the irony of the title and things like that, but it's a gamble. And maybe take the risk and maybe it'll work. But it's but that first poem of a packet, it's just like a first impression. It's like the first page of a book. That determines how I color the rest of the packet.
Yeah.
It leaves an impression on everything else. So that first poem really needs to, using that as that demonstration of ability to be like, hey, look, I know what I'm doing. Okay. Before I go all experimental on you, I want you to understand I know the foundations. Like, you know, like you look at like Picasso, like Picasso's earlier work is not like his Cubist work. His earlier work looks very traditional, you know?
Yeah.
And once he masters the traditional stuff, then he's like, I'm going in this direction, you know?
Yeah. I mean, and it works. I mean, I feel like we've done this example a couple of different times, but it actually, when you think about how like record labels like structure like artists like album rollouts and album deals and stuff like that, it's like you'll always notice like the first few albums that somebody puts out are typically kind of like right within like the genre platform that you're thinking that they should be in if you listen to their single and you listen to maybe their mixtape or whatever like that coming out. And then right around like that fourth album, that's when the artist is able to kind of like get a little out there and try to experiment with some things. And it's sometimes some A&R somewhere will pull the reins back, but a lot of times you kind of see the artists kind of being more experimental and kind of taking a little bit of a left turn, because it's like, okay, like let's establish your audience. Let's make sure that they know and believe that you make good whatever you make. And now that they know that, they're like, I can trust you to do a little bit of a left turn over here. I can trust that to see where it goes.